That's Concordia. I wish to support Michael McNamara's amendment because I think it's very important to attain transparency as to what's going on. I mean, we know what the farmers would like. Deputy McNamara said, we know what the farmers are getting at any time. We know what the consumers are paying at any time. But we don't know what's happening in between. And take the present situation now where, going back a year or so ago, when farmers' costs rose dramatically, mainly fertiliser costs and the cost of diesel and oil, anything connected with oil, plastics for silage bales, plastic coverings, they're all practically double what they were back in 2021, and they still are. And even the white diesel has not come down in proportion as to what petrol and white diesel has come down. And I've been calling for transparency in this for quite a while now. I can't understand how when the cost of oil started to go up, green diesel and say home heating oil, they were all around 38 cents a litre, and they went up then slowly, gradually. They crept up to 90 cents a litre, and then all of a sudden they went up to 148 cents a litre, and that was practically three and a half times the original cost, but yet it has not gone down to €1 today. So, but we see now, following the increase in the farmers' costs, they had to put up the cost of their produce, and according to the consumer paid the resultant cost included. But now we see, or whatever cost was decided to be put on by the retailers or by the multinational supermarkets, we don't know how they came to decide the cost that they were charging for the litre of milk or for the loaf of bread or whatever it was. All those food items increased dramatically, and now we see that just take the milk alone, they reduce it, but not the amount that the farmer has. It has been the price to the farmer is reduced exorbitantly to such an extent that farmers who borrowed, and they did borrow to improve their systems and to improve it's only a few years ago, a sharp few years ago, since they were told to increase production. And when you're in that vein, you have to continue. You can't. It's not like a water tap that you can turn it off. When you're in a mode, you have to stay going, Minister. And I'm saying to you that we do need regulation and transparency as to what's happening in between by the multinationals. And of course, they're collaborating together, because if one of them drops the price, they all seem to be able to do it. And then when they increase it, they all seem to be able to do it. I wonder what kind of trading practices they're prescribing to. And I think the producer who depends so much on the last cent that he gets or she gets for their produce, they depend so much on that to stay viable and to stay going themselves, Minister. I mean, and the farmers are sometimes at times lambasted for getting payments in the post and that they're being seen after. But that, Minister, we know, and the people who do know, that's only compensation for not being paid properly for the produce in the first place. So all those things need to be taken into account, and we see the price of milk has reduced so much in a few months, and we need to get to the root of it to see what's happening, because I say to you, Minister, farmers' costs are still very substantial. Yes, white diesel has reduced somewhat, but fertiliser is practically still double what it was in 2021, before the co-ops and the sources of fertiliser raised their prices. They bought it at the cheap price in 2021, and they held it back away up until spring 2022, when they raised it and doubled and tripled the cost of it. So I've been calling before for some kind of an investigation what's going on there, because the farmers are hit when something like this happens, but certainly the consumers are hit as well, and everyone is complaining about the cost of food, and it's still very expensive, and wages are not going as far as what they were. It has a domino effect and I do support Deputy McNamara's amendment, because we need to know what's happening in the middle between it leaving the farmer's gate and before the housewife buys it over the shop counter. There's an awful lot happening there, and any regulator needs to have power to suss out what's going on, and to have powers to ensure that fairness is being applied both ways, to the farmer and to the housewife.